So let's talk about Bruno Mars. The guy is easily one of the biggest pop stars in the world. We're talking sold out stadiums, #1 hits, a whole shelf of awards. But think about it. In an age where every celebrity is constantly online, he's basically a ghost. How can you be that famous, but also that private? Well, that's the paradox we're digging into. And this quote right here from a Reddit user absolutely nails it. Unlike other stars who are building these huge online fan bases and sharing everything, Bruno Mars just feels different. He's a throwback, an entertainer in that classic sense. He shows up, puts on an incredible show, and then poof, he's gone. Where does he go? Who knows? But don't you dare mistake that old school approach for being out of touch. His method is working. How well is it working? Well, 16 Grammys. 16. That's not just success, that's straight up dominance. It proves that whatever he's doing, it is connecting with people on a massive, massive scale. And just when you think you have him figured out, like, okay, he's in his Silk Sonic phase now, boom, he's back. The news that he's dropping a new solo album, his first since 2016, shows he is not a nostalgia act. No, he is a major current force in music, and he's about to take over the charts all over again. All right, so let's start with the part everyone knows, the first layer. Bruno Mars is a hit-making machine, period. He's the global superstar whose songs are pretty much everywhere. But here's the question. What makes those hits so hittable? Is it just random luck and a good bait? Or is there something more deliberate going on here? Like an actual science behind the songwriting? A blueprint for making a hit? And that leads us to the next layer of this whole thing. Thinking of Bruno Mars as a kind of songwriting scientist. We're going to look past the art for a second and really dig into the craft, the almost mathematical precision of his work. And get this isn't just a fan theory. Actual researchers have put his work under the microscope. A linguistic study recently did a super deep dive into his lyrics across 4 of his biggest albums, trying to map out exactly how he does what he does. The study focused on one main thing, figurative language. Now, that sounds academic, but it's really just the songwriter's secret weapon. It's how they paint pictures with words and make you feel the song, not just hear the lyrics. And when you actually break down the numbers, a super clear pattern emerges. Across his work, he has 2 favorite tools, metaphors and hyperboles. I mean, look at Unorthodox Jukebox. He used metaphors 32 times. These aren't just random flourishes. They're the engines driving the emotion in his music. And here's the perfect example. You all know this one. It's a classic hyperbole, a total exaggeration. Obviously, the world doesn't literally stop. But by saying that, he turns a simple compliment into this giant cinematic movie scene moment. It's a calculated way to make you feel a powerful emotion. It's genius. What's really fascinating, though, is how he uses those same tools for totally different subjects over time. His first album was all about that young, vulnerable love and heartbreak. Then you fast forward to 24K Magic, and suddenly it's all luxury, confidence, and just pure celebration. Same tools, totally different story. Okay, so let's just take stock here. We've got a commercial giant and a meticulous craftsman, an artist who has completely mastered how to connect with the public through his music, which makes this next question so much more interesting. Why is the man himself a total mystery? And here we are at the very heart of the paradox. We live in an industry that demands you share everything, all the time. But Bruno Mars is an A-list star who just rejects that whole playbook. He's reached the pinnacle of modern fame with a stubbornly old-school mindset. So what does this method look like in the real world? Well, he's not really on social media, not in a personal way. He's not trying to build a fan army, like the Swifties or the Beehive. You'll never hear him talking about politics or getting into public drama. It creates this sense of unknowableness. It's a clear choice to just let the music be the conversation. This quote from the absolute legend Nile Rodgers says it all. He was actually talking about Daft Punk, but it captures the final piece of the Bruno Mars puzzle perfectly. It's not just his personality that's old school, it's his entire philosophy on sound. This takes us to the deepest layer. This idea of Bruno Mars as the master of future nostalgia. It's a really cool cultural theory that helps explain not just what his music sounds like, but why it connects so deeply with us right now. So, what on earth is future nostalgia? It's a fascinating idea. It's not just about sounding retro. It's about capturing the optimism and the vibe of a past era, like the 70s or 80s, and making it feel new and exciting today. It's like being nostalgic for a future that a past generation dreamed of. You can see this so clearly if you just look at the history of disco. It had its golden age, and then boom, a huge backlash. For decades, it was basically a punchline. But then, starting around the 2010s, a new wave of artists, led by people like Bruno Mars, brought it roaring back. They weren't just copying it, they were reinventing it for a new generation. So when you put it all together, you can see the formula. It's a three-part system. It starts with the craft, that meticulous, almost scientific approach to writing songs. That's paired with the persona, the private old-school showman. And it's all wrapped up in the sound, that masterful use of future nostalgia that just feels so right now. At the end of the day, that's what he is. He's not one or the other. He is the modern old-school star. He's managed to fuse two ideas that should be total opposites into one incredibly successful career. And that's really the big takeaway. He has built this career that feels totally timeless, pulling from the best of the past, but at the same time, his whole strategy is perfectly designed to work in our crazy, modern, oversaturated world. So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. In an age that basically demands we're always online, always sharing, maybe the most powerful, most radical thing an artist can do is just be quiet and let the work do all the talking.